Hello and welcome to the universe. Let's delve into our solar system. The solar system is dominated by the Sun, which accounts for almost 99.9% of the matter of the whole system. It is the source of light and heat to us. Scientists believe that the Sun has been formed from a moving cloud of gases, which is called nebula. The Sun and the planets were born out of this cloud. The force of gravity has created them. For over millions of years, these balls of dust and gas are moving around the Sun. The Sun, by virtue of its mass and weight, controls the movement of planets. This force is called the force of gravity. Sun is at the center of the solar system with 8 planets, that is, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and satellites, asteroids, meteors, and comets that move around it. It is believed that the Sun was born about 5 billion years ago. Since that time, it is continuously emitting huge amount of heat and light. It is expected to glow in a similar manner to the next 5 billion years or so. The Sun is the nearest star from us. The Sun is the source of almost all energy on the Earth. The radius of the Sun is almost 100 times of the radius of the Earth, and its mass is about 1,000,000 times the mass of the Earth. The Sun is revolving around our galaxy by the speed of 250 kilometers per second. Planets are actually spinning around the Sun. They have their own elliptical path of movement known as orbits. Movements around its own axis is called rotation, and around the Sun is revolution. They have their own speed also. Planets, unlike stars, have no light or heat of their own. They are lit by the light of the stars. Stars twinkle whereas planets do not. The word planet comes from the Greek word planetai, which means wanderers. Planets keep changing their positions with respect to the stars. Planets are categorized into 2 groups: inner planets or terrestrial planets, outer planets or Jovian planets. Mercury. It is the nearest to the Sun. It is the smallest planet of the solar system, nearly of the same size and mass as the Moon. Mercury takes about 88 days for one orbit around the Sun and 59 days for one spin on its own axis. It has no satellite. There is no atmosphere on Mercury. The surface of Mercury is rocky and mountainous. One side of the surface facing the Sun receives maximum heat and light. The surface of this planet does not receive sunlight or heat on the other side. One part of Mercury, therefore, is very hot while the other part is very cold. The gravitation pull of the Mercury is about 3/8 of this Earth. Because Mercury is very close to the Sun, it is difficult to observe it, as most of the time it is hidden in the glare of the Sun. However, it can be observed in September and October just before sunrise in the eastern sky as a morning star. It is also seen in the western region of the sky immediately after sunset in March and April as an evening star. Venus. Venus has no moon or satellites of its own. It rotates on its axis in somewhat unusual way, that is, from east to west. Venus shows faces like the moon. Its size is nearly the same as that of the Earth. The mass of Venus is nearly 4/5 times that of the Earth. It takes 255 days for one orbit around the Sun and 243 days for one spin on its axis. Venus has an atmosphere that consists of mainly carbon dioxide. Minute quantities of water vapor and oxygen have also been found on Venus. The cloudy atmosphere of Venus sends back almost 3/4 of the sunlight that falls on it. That's why Venus could be seen as the brightest object in the sky after the Sun and the Moon. Sometimes Venus appears in the eastern sky before sunrise, and sometimes it appears in the western sky just after the sunset. Therefore, it is often called a morning or an evening star. However, the surface of Venus is much hotter than the Earth. Though Mercury has no atmosphere, Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system. The Earth. Our Earth rotates from west to east about its axis with a speed of 1610 kilometers per hour and completes its one revolution in 23 hours 56 minutes and 4.09 seconds. It is inclined at 23 degrees 26 minutes 59 seconds, which is about 23.5 degrees of the latitude with its axis. Its rotation about its own axis results in the phenomena of day and night. Our Earth rotates from the west to east. Our Earth is more or less like a sphere, which is slightly flattened at the north and south, slightly flattened or tapered at the poles. The Earth is best to be described as a geoid, ellipsoid, or oblate spheroid, which means Earth-like shape. Earth is the third nearest planet to the Sun. In size, it ranks fifth. In size and makeup, the Earth is almost identical to the Venus. Due to the presence of water and land masses, the Earth appears blue-green in color from this space. Therefore, it is called the blue planet. The mass and density of the Earth are 5.97 into 10 to the 24 kgs and 5.52 gram per cubic centimeters respectively. It completes one revolution around the Sun in 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, 35.51 seconds, which is approximately 365.25 days, with the speed of 107,160 kilometers per hour. It is inclined at 66.5 from the orbit and revolves in an elliptical orbit around the Sun. Internally, the Earth is composed of Cl for silica and aluminium, Sema for silica and magnesium, Nephe for nickel and iron, etc. Its surface is covered by a blanket of several gases called air. The Earth is the only planet where some spatial environment conditions are responsible for the existence and continuation of life. These include just the right distance from the Sun, so it has the right temperature range, the presence of water, soil, minerals, suitable atmosphere, and a blanket of ozone. The Moon, the only satellite of the Earth. A small body revolves around the bigger body is called a satellite. A moon is a satellite of the Earth. Planets are satellites of the Sun. These are natural satellites like planets. Satellites also have no light or heat of their own. As the Moon revolves around the Earth and also around the Sun, its position changes daily in relation with the Sun. As a result, the relative positions of the Moon keep on changing every day. That is how Moon appears different each night. The Moon takes almost the same time, 27 days and 7 hours, to complete both the movements, the rotation and revolution. The Moon has no atmosphere. It has no water. The moon is about 384,400 kilometers away from the Earth. The light reflected by the moon reaches us in just 1.25 seconds. Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, and Collins set foot on the moon for the first time on 21st July 1969. They found that the moon surface is dusty and barren. It also has a large number of steep and high mountains. They cast shadow on the moon's surface. On full moon night, the Earth lies in between the moon and the sun, so the full face of the moon is visible to us. On a new moon night, the moon lies in between the Earth and the sun. So sunlight falls on that face of the moon which is on the outer side of the Earth, and we cannot see them. Mars. It is almost half the size of the Earth, but its mass is only 1/10 of that of the Earth. It takes 687 days for one orbit around the Sun and 1 day for one spin on its axis. The atmosphere of the Mars is much thinner than that of the Earth. It perhaps consists mainly nitrogen. Traces of oxygen have also been found on it. It appears slightly reddish, and therefore it is also called the red planet. Mars has two small natural satellites named Phobos and Deimos. Nix Olympia is the largest mountain present on it. The largest volcano present on its surface is Olympus Mons Janel. The Mars is visible from the Earth for most part of the year. However, it is the best suited for observation when it is opposite the Sun's position in the sky with respect to the Earth. On these days, it is closer to the Earth as well. Outer planets or Jovian planets. These are present outside the orbit of the Mars. The larger and the less denser planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune belong to this category. These are made up of gases like helium, ammonia and methane. Because of their resemblance with Jupiter, these planets are called Jovian planets. They have large number of satellites, moons. They also contain rings which are belts of some debris around them. Jupiter. It is the largest planet of the solar system. It takes 11 years and 11 months for one orbit around the Sun, and 9 hours 56 minutes for one spin on its axis. It has 16 satellites. It also has faint rings around it. Its most distinguishing feature is the Great Red Spot. It is believed that it is a complex storm in the atmosphere of the planet ranging for a few hundred years. Its mass is more than the combined mass of the other planets. Because of its large mass, Jupiter exerts a strong gravitational pull on the other objects which pass by it. A comet passing close to it is likely to experience the pull and stray from its original path. In 1994, the comet Shoemaker-Levy actually broke up into several pieces when it came too near this planet. The pieces then collided with the planet. Jupiter's bright appearance in the sky after Venus and occasionally Mars is due to the thick atmosphere that reflects most of the sunlight falling on it. It is believed that the Jupiter mainly consists of hydrogen and helium in gaseous form. Its clouds, like outer regions, consist of methane in gaseous form, while ammonia is present in crystalline form. Saturn. Beyond the Jupiter is Saturn, which appears yellowish in color. What makes it unique in the solar system are its three beautiful rings. It takes 29 years, 5 months for one orbit around the Sun, and 10 hours 48 minutes for one spin on its own axis. It has 18 satellites. The Saturn is the least dense among all the planets. Its density is less than that of water. It is similar in size, mass, and composition to the Jupiter. It is, however, cooler than the Jupiter. Uranus. It was the first planet to be discovered with the help of a telescope. William Herschel discovered the planet in 1781. Hydrogen and methane have been detected in the atmosphere of the Uranus. Except the Venus and the Uranus, all other planets rotate in the same direction in which they revolve. Like the Venus, the Uranus also rotates from east to west. The most remarkable features of the Uranus is that it has highly tilted rotational axis. As a result, in its orbital motion, it appears to roll on its side. It takes 84 years for one orbit around the Sun and 17 hours 14 minutes for one spin on its axis. It has about 17 satellites. Neptune. It was discovered by Sir William Herschel on the basis of the law of gravitation given by Sir Isaac Newton, which he gave almost 180 years before it. It takes 164 years for one orbit around the Sun and 16 hours 7 minutes for one spin on its axis. The Uranus and the Neptune are quite faint and cannot be seen with the naked eyes. That's why only 6 planets were known in ancient times. These 2 planets have been discovered only after the telescope came into use in astronomy. It has 8 satellites. So this was all about the solar system, Sun, and other planets. If you want some more videos like this one related to astronomy, physics and science, please do like, comment and share it with your friends. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Stay home. Stay safe.